How many people online?
Besides us, 7.
Huh?
7 besides us.
Oh, okay. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gora Hari Bol. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai. Om Gyana Timirandasya Ganajana Shilakaya Chakshomalitam Jena Tajmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Patakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagan Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Krishna. After that, what's next? Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, we're reading from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, the opulence of the Absolute, text number 14. So I don't know if you have it. I want to give out books or something. Oh, you're going to get up there. That's even better. Savam etaritam manye
Sarvam
Sarvam
etadritam
etadritam
manne
manne
yanmam vadasi keshava
yanmam
yanmam
vadashi
vadasi
keshava
keshava
nahi te bhagavan vyaktim
nahi
nahi
te
te
bhagavan
bhagavan
vyaktim
vyaktim
vidur deva nadanavaha
vidur
vidur
deva
dena
nadanavaha
vananava
savam etaritam manye.
sarvam
Sarvam
etadritam
etadritam
manne
manne
Can you start? Yanmam vadasi keshava
yanmam
yanmam yanmam
vadasi
vadashi
keshava
keshava
nahi te bhagavan vyaktim
nahi
te
te bhagavan
vidur
bhagavan
vyaktim
deva nadanavaha
vidur
vidur
deva
devanadhanavaha
sarvam etadritam manye
Sarvam
sarvam
etadritam
etadritam
yanmam
manne
manne
vadasi keshava
yanmam
yanmam
vadashi
vadasi
nahi
keshava
keshava
te bhagavan vyaktim
nahi
nahi
te
te
bhagavan
bhagavan
vidur
vyaktim
vyaktim
deva nadanavaha.
vidur
vidur
deva nadanavaha
Chant.
devanadhanavaha
Sarvam
Sarvam
etadritam
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 manne
manye
manne
yamam vadasi keshava
Keshava
nahi
nahi
te
te
nahi te
bhagavan
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 vyaktim
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 vidur
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 deva
deva
nadanavaha
nadanavaha
devanadhanavaha
sarvam
sarvam
etadritam
etadritam
manye
manne
manne
yanmam
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 vadasi
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 keshava
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 nahi te
nate
bhagavan
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 vyaktim
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 vidur
vidur
deva
deva
nadanavaha
nadanavaha
Dhanavaha
sarvam
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 etadritam
etadritam
manne
manye yanmam vadasi
yanmam
yanmam vadasi
vadasi
keshava
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 nahi te
te
bhagavan
bhagavan
vyaktim
vyaktim
nahi te
vidur deva
vidur
nadanavaha.
devanadhanavaha
Anybody online?
Sarvam. Go ahead, Mataji.
I guess anybody online going to chant and I don't hear anyone.
sarvam etadritam manne
Sarvam
Savam
etadritam
etadritam
manye
manye
yamam adashi keshava
yanmam
yanmam
vadasi
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 keshava
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 nahi te bhagavan vyaktim
nahi
nahi
te
te bhagavan
bhagavan bhagavan
vyaktim
vyaktim
vidur deva nadanava
vidur
vidur
deva
devanadhanavaha Sarvam etadritam manye
Savam etam vritam
etadritam
manye
manne
yanmam vadasi keshava
yanmam vadashi
yanmam
keshava
vadasi keshava
nahi te bhagavan vyaktim
Nahi te
Naite Bhagavan Vyaktim
Vidurdevana Danavaha
Vidur Devana
Vidur Devana
Danava
Danavaha
सर्वैतत्कृतं मन्ये
Sarvam
Savametadratam Manye
Ane
मा वदसि केशव
Yanmam
Mam
Vadashi
Vadasi
Keshava
Shiva
Keshava
ते भगवन् भक्तिं
Nahi
Nahi
Te
tu
Bhagavan
Bhagavan
Vyaktim
Vaktim
Bhagavan
चतुर्देवानदानव
Vidur Devana
Vidurdevana
Danava
Danavaha
Va Sarvam
Sarvam
all
All
Etat
Etat
this
This
Ritam
Ritam
truth
Truth
Manye I
Manye
accept
I accept
Yat
Yat
which
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 Mum
Mam
unto me
unto me
thee you tell Keshava O
Keshava
Krishna
O Krishna
Na
Na
never
Never
he
He
certainly
Certainly
Te
Te
your
Your
Bhagavan O
Bhagavan
personality of Godhead
O personality of Godhead
Yaktim
Vyaktim
revelation
Revelation
Vidu
Revelation
Vidu
no
Can know
Devaha
Deva
Deva
demigods
The
Demigods
demigods
Na
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 nor
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 Anava
Danava
Danavaha
demons
The
The
demons
demons
translate O Krishna I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither the demigods nor the demons, O Lord, can understand your personality. Purport. Arjuna herein confirms that persons and demoniac and demoniac nature cannot understand Krishna. He is not known even by the demigods. So what to speak of the so-called scholars of this modern world? By the grace of the Supreme Lord, Arjuna has understood that the supreme truth is Krishna and that he is the perfect one. One should therefore follow the path of Arjuna. He received the authority of Bhagavad Gita. As described in the 4th chapter, the Parampara system of disciplic succession for the understanding of Bhagavad Gita was lost, and therefore Krishna reestablished that disciplic succession with Arjuna, because he considered Arjuna his intimate friend and a great devotee. Therefore, as stated in our introduction to Gita Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita should be understood in the Parampara system. When the Parampara system was lost, Arjuna was selected to rejuvenate it. The acceptance by Arjuna of all that Krishna says should be emulated. Then we can understand the essence of Bhagavad Gita. And then only can we understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sarvam etad ritam manye yan mam vadasi keshava nahi te bhagavan vyaktim vidur deva nadanavaha. O Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither the demigods nor the demons, O Lord, can understand your personality. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nevase Sasanyavadi Pastacha Desatarani. And we'll just go over the purport. Arjuna herein confirms that persons of faithless and demoniac nature cannot understand Krishna. So this is very simple for us to understand, is how can you understand Krishna if you're fighting against him, if you're speaking against him, you say that he doesn't exist. You know, there's a philosophy now, there are atheists, I mean there's always been atheists, but now there's atheists who pretty much claim it as their religion, atheism, and they speak on it and they write books on it, and how can they possibly understand Krishna? If they understood Krishna, they would not be speaking like that, because they're part and parcel of Krishna. They're speaking against themselves. They're basically, in one sense, saying, I don't exist, we don't exist, you don't exist. Or at least I don't exist, maybe you guys exist. Because I'm saying God doesn't exist and I'm part and parcel of him. If he doesn't exist, the part and parcel doesn't exist either. So if anyone understood their actual position, if the demons don't understand that, but if they did, how can they possibly be going against God? Now we understand our position. We're part and parcel of Krishna, and sometimes we might get upset with Krishna, which is just foolish, like a child. But we have to see that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. He is the Supreme Being. Everything emanates from him. Everything is part of him. Everything is an expansion of him. And we only see this material world, but even the spiritual world is just an expansion of him. So sometimes, demons, we can understand where they can't possibly know Krishna. Even the demons when Krishna was here, because Pundraka put on 2 fake arms. That's never made any sense to me. How we can try to impress people with 2 extra arms, They're not even his, they're not real. I could see if there's people in India, sometimes there's a child born with an extra arm or 2, and they think they're a demigod, and they may be, I don't know what they are, but at least if he had his own arms and went like that because he was deformed, that would be something. But he actually pretended to be Vishnu, and he's criticizing Krishna as, who do you think you are? I'm the Supreme Lord. What a complete imbecile. That's so dumb. So he was a demon, and he was trying to pretend that he's God. There's other people, they're not demons per se, but they have that same philosophy that I'm God. God, we're all God. Because they have this impersonal understanding of God. They cannot understand Krishna because they're absorbed, they're impersonalists. They don't think God is a person, so they can't understand him at all. You have to be at least understanding that you're a person. I know I have not this body, so therefore I must be, because I do exist, I must be God. What a jump they go from not knowing they're not the body to that they're God. They're part and parcel of God. So those are also demons. But Arjuna, after hearing so the modern, what can we think of the modern people? They don't understand this Supreme Person, this reality of God. Here it is clear that the Supreme is different from the individual soul. Arjuna, I'm reading the wrong thing, I think. Yeah, I'm reading the wrong thing. Yeah. He is not known even by the demigods. So what to speak of the so-called scholars of this modern world? It's so nice, Prabhupada says, so-called scholars. They're fools, they're idiots, but they're so-called scholars. Amongst the other so-called scholars, they're accepted as great. Or among the hogs, dogs, camels, and asses, they're accepted as great. But amongst actual people who know what is what, they're fools. They're preaching some stupid nonsense stuff. And they have a good memory, and they can remember so many things that have nothing to do with the absolute truth. And then people practically worship them. They pay to go and listen to these people who are just fools. And the people who are listening are just in the mentality of hogs, dogs, camels, and asses. So who cares about being praised by hogs, dogs, camels? I'm sitting here, and then imagine having just a bunch of animals just sitting here listening to. I'd probably like it, but and then at the end they bark and they bray and they appreciate that class. I know I'd probably feel pretty good, but an intelligent person, what are you going to think? They understand what I was just saying? But in other words, hogs, dogs, camels, and asses, they can't understand it. They don't sit. The only thing I know about is one cow once would every day go into some temple is it Vrindavan? I don't even know if it was in Vrindavan. Do you know, Jiva? What?
The cow would go and listen to the class.
Wait, what?
There was a cow that would go and listen to the class.
Yes, but where was it? Was it
Mumbai.
not Vrindavan?
I think Mumbai, I could be wrong.
Okay. Are you from Mumbai? Just wondering. Because I was thinking it was from Brooklyn.
I thought it is from Vrindavan.
Where?
Vrindavan.
Vrindavan. I think it was Vrindavan, but I don't remember for sure. But anyway, every day during the Bhagavatam class, I think it was the Bhagavatam class, that this cow would come into the temple and sit down for the class, and then at the end of the class, the cow would get up and leave. But, that's not an ordinary cow. And even a cow it's not an ordinary animal. It's not in the classification of a hog, dog, or camel, or an ass. Cow is more auspicious. I give it a nice example. We know that Prabhupada says, because we're preaching Krishna consciousness and people complain, they say so many things, and Prabhupada often says, let the dogs bark. When the elephants are marching in a big parade and the dogs come marching, the dogs come barking. The elephants just keep on marching. They don't pay attention to the dogs, although I did see in Mayapur when I was with this one elephant that he was really nice, or she was a very nice elephant. But I'd go see her every morning, and she would take a branch of what she's going to eat, and she hit herself with her trunk, hit herself on this side, hit herself on this side, hit herself on the head, and then she put it down on the ground, put a foot on it, rip off all the leaves and eat them. And she just did that. So one time there was a dog, she was doing this, and the dog came barking, and she went like this, and then she went after the dog with the thing. So this was a pretty cool elephant and didn't want to listen, and the dog ran away. But generally, if they're in a parade, they're not going to break format, to go and chase a dog. He didn't chase it because the elephant was actually tied, chained, its leg chained to something, pole or tree. But the dog did run away. So Prabhupada talks about that, talks about when the dogs are barking, don't pay attention to the dogs barking. Just go on preaching. We're preaching Krishna consciousness. So some dogs bark, we keep preaching Krishna consciousness. So once I just heard this story very recently about Madhavananda, is that his name? What's his name? Mangalananda. Mangalananda, who did these songs. He sings really good songs, in English, rock and roll kind, but nice, like The Change of Heart. He had this album. So when Prabhupada came, he asked Prabhupada if he can play some of these songs for him. And while he's talking about this, he's telling us pastime what he had with Prabhupada. He was actually crying because he said, I'm just such a nothing. And Prabhupada stopped everything and gave him all the time he wanted to listen to his music. And he says, and he's really appreciating Prabhupada because, he's running the whole world. He's got this big movement, but he took time to listen to us. And he liked his songs. They were completely Krishna conscious. Practically every word is from Bhagavad Gita, but he wrote it in songs. And he made it more rock and roll so people will appreciate it in America, at least, and probably maybe other places. But he also told Prabhupada that the devotees, they're telling him he's wasting his time. It's all nonsense. And Prabhupada said, let the cows moo. So for the devotees, he talked to them about the cows. He picked, as cows, whereas the karmis, they're just dogs. Let the cows move rather than let the dogs bark. But that one cow was pretty auspicious. Now, I have no idea how it got into the cows and the animals. Oh yeah, because the PhDs, so-called knowledge, they're a bunch of fools and people who have who are fools, accept these other fools as they're so great. But they don't know anything about who Krishna is. So what is the value of there's a verse in the Bhagavatam, what is the value of a prolonged life wasted in experience in this world? Better a moment of full consciousness, because that gives one a start in searching after his supreme interest. They have not even a moment of full consciousness, not even a moment of Krishna consciousness. So they're just wasted in experience in this world. Complete waste. And the next life, who knows what type of person. They're most likely, if they're most of these scholars, are not going to even be a human being in the next life. So by the grace of the Supreme Lord, Arjuna has understood that the supreme truth is Krishna, and that he is the perfect one. So one should therefore follow the path of Arjuna. So actually, I wanted to say something. Let's see. Wait, he received the authority of Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So we talk about in this verse, even the demigods don't know him. So the demigods, they seem to know Vishnu as the supreme, but they don't really know that Vishnu is just an expansion of Krishna. And I mean, the examples we see with Indra, because he was puffed up that these people were worshiping him, and they offer him all this sacrifice, this Indra Puja from Vrindavan, and then he got really upset with Krishna, who is the source of Vishnu, because he told him not to worship Indra, worship his hill. I mean, that's a real insult, you worshiping me. Why worship him? Worship this box, It's like, what worse can you get? Not even a person, just this hill. Worship this hill instead of worshiping me. And they're listening to him. I don't understand how you get that upset. Where you're going to kill them. You're going to not only kill him, he's just a boy, he doesn't really know any better, but I'm going to kill him, and I'm going to kill everybody who's listening to him. And I'm going to kill all their animals, because they're just too stupid to understand my position. What's the use of them living? I don't know if it's exactly what he was thinking, but it's like a horrible thing to be doing, just because somebody's not worshiping you. But he did this. And then Krishna is very patient, like the patience of God, or a saintly person has so much patience, because God is really patient. He's holding the hill. 8 days. He could have gone for 8 years holding that hill, and everyone is completely satisfied because he gives them all the nourishment they need, everything. They didn't have to eat, they didn't have to drink, they didn't have to sleep. So he could have gone on forever with holding this hill, no problem for him. But then Indra couldn't go on with his trying to kill him, and nothing is working after 8 days. Then maybe I did something wrong. Then he realized he committed a great offense, and then he went and of course he apologized. He's so sorry. So then he can understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And of course Brahma, now Indra is not the Supreme, even within this universe, Brahma is the creator of the whole universe. He's here before anybody. He knows more than everyone. He's got 4 heads because it can't even fit, just like sometimes you have a computer, like they have these big, I only see them in pictures or something, but where there's a room with just computers, and they were all attached, because one computer can't have all that memory, brains, whatever it is. So similarly, I can be one head. If we're not even using our one head. We use a small little portion of our head, but if we used our whole head, we'd be super smart and logical and intelligent. We'd be like you see in the movies when somebody's just like, maybe when you see in a movie somebody comes from another planet and knows everything. We're not even using our one head, but if you use your one head completely, and then you had three others that were just as smart. I mean, his head's are probably bigger than ours, and his brain is even in each head is more powerful than ours. But so he had to do that in order to create the universe. He created the planets. He created everything. So there's nobody that's going to compete with him as far as intelligence. Even when Brigham Muni tested Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva to see who was supreme, Brahma almost cursed Brigham Muni. It says, but by his great intelligence, he was able to control himself and just kicked him out and didn't curse him. So Brahma is really, really, really intelligent. And he didn't know that Krishna was the source of Vishnu. And then, so he wanted to play, but he wasn't so evil or demoniac where he wants to kill him. You know, he just wanted to play a trick on him. Because he sees everything in the whole universe. This is only one tiny little speck, and it's just a middle planet. It's not a heavenly planet. And there's something going on that's kind of special here. And he wants to see it. So he sees this person, and he's just a little boy. I imagine he's really cute. I'm going to play a trick on him. And he takes all his cowherd boyfriends. First of all, they went to get the calves, and Krishna stayed back. He was eating. And then after that, they're all gone because Brahma took them and put them in a cave. And he put them in some kind of a special sleeping state. Well, now, if you went to a cave and went to sleep for a year, you're really not going to be alive because you need food, you need water, you need something. They didn't have intravenous on all these people. Because he has mystic powers, he can do all of this. So he put him in. It was a year, our time, a moment in his time. And he comes back. And when he comes back, he sees that Krishna is there with the cows and the cowherd boys. And it's like, what? You know, what kind of mystic powers does this guy have? Or he questioned, did I put him in the cave? I thought I did. They got out. What happened? He doesn't know. Then, while he's thinking like that, Krishna shows that all of these cows, all of these cowherd boys are Vishnu Tattva. They all are there with 4 arms. They're Lord Vishnu. They're expansions of Krishna. Krishna can expand billions of Vishnu forms. And he's expanded into everyone's heart as Paramatma. So he can expand. He's in every atom. He's in between every atom. So he expanded into all these cowherd boys. And then when Brahma saw this, he became even more bewildered. He became so bewildered and stunned, he couldn't move. And then Krishna knows his heart. So at that point, Krishna manifested himself with some food in his left hand, and he was searching for them, for the cows and cowherd boys. They were no longer there. So Brahma was just so amazed at this. So I'm going to read a little bit of this story. Lord Brahma, who has full control, this is nice, he has full control of the goddess of learning, Saraswati. So Saraswati is his wife. Yes? He has full control over his wife. The goddess of learning, the smart, she's so smart, she's known for it, and he has full control over her. And who is considered to be the best authority in Vedic knowledge, Brahma is, was perplexed, unable to understand the extraordinary power manifested by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the mundane world, even a personality like Brahma is unable to understand the mystic power of the Supreme Lord. Krishna took compassion upon Brahma because of his inability to see how Krishna was displaying the forms of Vishnu and transforming himself into calves and cowherd boys. And thus, while fully manifesting the Vishnu expansions, he suddenly pulled his curtain of Yoga Maya over the scene. So when he pulled his curtain of Yoga Maya, that's when he saw Krishna looking for them. Brahma is not an ordinary conditioned soul. He is far, far superior to all the other demigods. And yet, he could not comprehend the display of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, Krishna willingly stopped manifesting any further potency. So because Brahma couldn't understand it, he just stopped manifesting any further, confusing him anymore. The curtain of Yoga Maya was drawn so that Brahma would not become more and more perplexed. When Brahma was relieved from his perplexity, he appeared to awaken from an almost dead state. He saw all around him the super excellent view of Vrindavan. So now Brahma is seeing Vrindavan, full with trees, which Prabhupada says, which is the source of life for all living entities. Prabhupada very much liked trees. Well, he didn't want anyone cutting down trees, unnecessarily. Even in Vrindavan, there was a tamal tree. He had him build the temple around, and the tamal tree was in the courtyard, rather than cut it down. So it says Vrindavan, full with trees, which is the source of life for all living entities. He could appreciate the transcendental land of Vrindavan, where all the living entities are transcendental. In the forest of Vrindavan, even ferocious animals like tigers live peacefully along with the deer and human beings. He could understand that because of the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vrindavan is transcendental to all other places and is free from lust and greed. Although if you go to Lloyd Bazaar, you might greed. Some of these people are not as transcendental. So Brahma thus found Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, playing the part of a small cowherd boy. He saw that little child with a lump of food in his left hand, searching out his friends and calves, just as he had actually been doing 1 year before, after their disappearance. Immediately, Brahma descended from his great swan carrier and fell down before the Lord just like a golden stick. Golden stick because Brahma is golden. And then I'm not reading everything that's in it. I'm skipping some parts. But he bowed down, and then he got up, and he bowed down again, and he did it many, many times. All the 4 helmets of his heads touched the lotus feet of Krishna. Brahma, being very joyful, began to shed tears. Whereas Indra was kind of scared when he went to apologize and not knowing what. And actually, I think it was Brahma who told him to bring a Sarabi cow with him, because he didn't know what he should do, how to do this. And anyway, Brahma began to shed tears, and he washed the lotus feet of Krishna with his tears. Seeing the Lord before him, began to offer prayers with great respect and humility. So then I'm going to read some of the prayers, not everything, but just some of the prayers that Brahma offered. But the point is, Brahma, the supreme of all beings in the universe, demigods and all, still he didn't understand Krishna. So Arjuna saying that I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither the demigods nor the demons, O Lord, can understand your personality. So he seems to reveal it to who he wants to reveal it to. And even when we read Krishna book, we see that when he entered Mathura, or even at the Rajasuya sacrifice, people seen him differently. Some people seen him as the most beautiful Cupid, some people as an ordinary human being, some people as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, some people as the most attractive Cupid, in a sense that they feel love for him, more, as you would for a husband or for a boyfriend, probably more than for a husband even. But they had all different feelings about him. Even the wrestlers with Kamsa saw him as death personified. So people saw him differently. Now, why do they see him differently? I don't think it's Krishna makes them see him that way. It's because of their natural affection towards Krishna that they see him different ways. Of course, when Krishna wants to not be seen as Krishna, he can do that. He was a Mohini Murti, and even Lord Shiva couldn't recognize him. He was bewildered. Or when he dresses as a gopi. Now this is like really hard to understand, because say for instance somebody here dresses as a gopi, a man. Generally you're not going to think he's just a really beautiful gopi, and or the gopis, even Radharani, nobody knew it was him. If your husband dressed up as a woman, do you think you'd recognize him? He has a nice wig on, makeup, But somehow in Krishna, he can do it where nobody recognizes him. So sometimes he does that. He actually comes and he wants to just bewilder everyone. So he can do that too. But in general, when he appears, different people see him different ways. When he went to Mathura, there's the hunchback woman, I think was in Mathura. She offered him the sandalwood. She gave him all the sandalwood that was for Kamsa, and then she got straightened out. and then the flower person, I think, did that too, but somebody else had garments, I think. The washerman.
He refused.
Yeah, he didn't, and I think he got his head cut off.
Yeah.
Speaking about how the punishment of Indra didn't seem fair. The punishment for Krishna and the cowherd boys for not worshiping Indra, his punishment seemed very over. But this man, he had something for the king, and this other person wanted him, and he didn't want to give it, so he cuts off his head. But I guess somehow you should see this person is so special. I mean, how would it be if somebody walks in, if Krishna walks in now, just dressed as one of us? Are we going to recognize him? I'd hope so, but, What?
One way to think like, we have to give respect to everyone. So if he comes and he's a Lord.
And he's, yeah.
And if we think that we are fallen and low and giving respect to him, considering him as a part of Lord and giving him all honor, and if he's God, we get all the mercy.
Right.
So
Right. No, but but I'm not saying how we should treat him. We should be nice to everyone, but will we see him as Krishna? When Krishna was there in Vrindavan, Indra and Brahma didn't see him as the Supreme Lord. Would we see him as the Supreme Lord if he came in? That's all. I mean, if he doesn't want to be seen as the Supreme Lord, nobody's going to see him. But he can come in and he could be the Supreme Lord, and we don't recognize him, and some of us might recognize him. I don't know. I hope he does it and we'll see. That would be nice. Of course, right here, he's here and people don't recognize him.
So as Krishna, he bewildered Indra and Brahma, but as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he did show his other forms at the house of Srivas Thakur. Like his form of
Well, Krishna certainly showed his He showed his form, which is his real form, and he performed things that nobody else can do. So a normal person would think this could. How can he not? Who can lift a mountain with a pinky of their left hand and hold it for 8 days? That's not possible for anyone. And I don't care how many mystic powers you got, you ain't going to be able to do that. And he fought with 8 bulls at the same time. And he expanded himself into 16,108 Krishnas in different palaces, doing different things at the same time. You know, whereas yogis can expand into 8, but one form does the same as all the other forms. So, you know, just seeing all of it, if you really accept what the scriptures say of his pastimes, you'd have to see that this has got to be God. Yes?
Is like Brahma, is it for our edification that he falls into disillusion, forgetfulness? Because by dint of his meditation, he gets a vision of the spiritual world, and then he sings the Brahma Samhita, and it's all about Goloka,
Yeah.
Krishna, so he knows Krishna stuff. So is it to show that the demigods also fall into
Well, in here it mentions something about that. Let me just read something. It mentions the Brahma Samhita. My dear Lord, people may say that I am the master of all Vedic knowledge, and I am supposed to be the creator of this universe, but it has been proved now that I cannot understand you, who are present before me just like a child. You are playing with your boyfriends and calves, which might imply that you do not even have sufficient education. You are appearing just like a village boy, carrying your food in your hand and searching for your calves. So it's like, you know, you don't even have sufficient education. It's just a village boy. And yet there is so much difference between your body and mine that I cannot estimate the potency of your body. As I have already stated in the Brahma Samhita, your body is not material. And that's a quote, and that's the end of the quote. That Prabhupada quotes it like that in the Krishna book. So he knew that, you know, he still didn't recognize that that's him. He's talking about the Supreme Lord in the Brahma Samhita, Govindam, Adipusham, but somehow or other he didn't recognize him.
because of his childhood pastimes, they're bewildering.
Yeah, I guess they're bewildering, certainly bewildering. So your appearance as a cowherd child is for the benefit of the devotees. And although I have committed an offense at your lotus feet by stealing away your boys and calves, I can understand that you have bestowed your mercy upon me. This shows your transcendental quality of being very affectionate toward your devotees. But in spite of your great affection for me, I cannot estimate the potency of your bodily activities. It is to be understood that when I, Lord Brahma, the Supreme Personality of this universe, cannot estimate the childlike body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then what to speak of others? So, and this is the highest demigod, and he's admitting he doesn't understand it. This little body can do all these things. And if I cannot estimate the spiritual potency of your childlike body, then what can I understand about your transcendental pastimes? Therefore, as it is said in the Bhagavad Gita, now Bhagavad Gita wasn't spoken, but it's still part of this quote somehow. As it is said in the Bhagavad Gita, because he can know past, present, and future too. Anyone who can understand a little of this is really nice. I like what Prabhupada says, a little. Okay? Anyone who can understand a little of the transcendental pastimes, appearance, and disappearance of the Lord becomes immediately eligible to enter into the kingdom of God after quitting the material body. You know, just understand a little about Krishna's pastimes, and his appearance, his activities. So the best process for understanding you, now he's telling how does the best process to understand you is to submissively give up the speculative process and try to hear about you either from yourself, as you have given statements in the Bhagavad Gita and many similar Vedic scriptures, or from a realized devotee who has taken shelter at your lotus feet. One does not need even to change his worldly position. He simply has to hear your message. No, that's the end of what I have on Brahma. But it's so nice that doesn't matter what your position is, you're married, you're working, whatever it is, you just have to you simply has to hear your message. That's all you have to do is hear. And hear from Krishna himself and hear from devotees, hopefully pure devotees about Krishna. So before I go and read some more, does anyone have a question? Because I don't want to leave without any questions. Give time for questions, either online, but nobody's there online taking the questions. Anybody know how to do that? Could turn it up. Our online person kind of left, so.
Whatever you say, they are listening.
Our online person came back. What?
I asked him, will he be expanding?
Yeah, he could expand, but he'd be doing the same thing as he's doing downstairs.
He has to get married first. There is one way to expand. And then children to more expand.
Yeah, that's it.
And then you expand, and then you do less of work.
And then a what?
And then he'll do less of work what he does now.
Right.
Because you have to
Then we won't see him anymore. He'll expand, and then we don't see him. You got any questions?
So in the translation it says that neither the demigods nor the demons can understand your personality. So what is the hope for a neophyte sadhaka who is struggling to understand Krishna?
Who's asking?
I'm
You're asking?
yes.
All this time for you to. Well, if you were listening, the hope is to hear from Krishna and hear from the devotees. Just by doing that, you can understand. You can go back to Godhead, and then you'll know it automatically once you get there. You don't have to know He's the Supreme Lord, but you just won't forget Him.
He did say neither the demon nor the demigod nor a neophyte sadhaka would understand.
Yes.
We all have heard Srila Prabhupada and devotees sometimes in our life. And that's why we all are sitting here. And
Somewhat.
in this lifetime, we have heard from pure devotees
Yeah.
the past time. We have heard from. We are not fortunate like Arjuna to hear directly from Lord
Right.
coming and saying. But his representatives have come and spoken to us, and we have heard those words.
Right.
And by hearing their words and putting our faith, we can little by little, step by step, understand the Lord.
Right.
We can come close to Him. And once, that's what I
Yeah. The more. I thought you were going to say something a little differently, but
Yeah, you can say it.
I was thinking you were going to say, well, now we heard, so now we can do whatever we want. But if you're really hearing, you have to be acting on it. You have to accept it. If you really accept it, there's nothing else to do except for Krishna Katha. That's, and service, but it's all Krishna Katha, even if it's, we're doing sweeping the floor. That's also service. So, so we all understand Krishna. Well, he says, as you surrender unto me, I reward you accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Prita. So every one of us is surrendering to Krishna to different degrees. And as much as we're surrendering, to that degree, we're going to be rewarded. You know, so it's a real personal thing, and it's really, really good because nobody can cheat on this, you know. Krishna knows our heart better than we know our heart. And so, okay, Jai. Vishnu Krishna Haribol. So we have to try to hear and chant as much and do service as much, stay engaged. I know there are some devotees who just like to hear and chant and don't do anything else. And it's not, if you were here when Prabhupada was here, it was not the situation that anybody really was in. Everyone worked really hard, physically doing different services. You know, he said one devotee can stay back and take care of the deities. One devotee. That's like 5 artis a day, bathing and dressing the deities. Maybe in the morning you can have other people help, but it's a lot. And 5 offerings a day. And you got to cook all this here. That's like, you know, very rarely did you have only one person doing it. But that's what Prabhupada was saying. And everyone else go out on book distribution. So everyone is engaged, physically doing service. So we have to hear and chant. We also have to chant our rounds. We also have to hear Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. We should hear regularly for as much time as we can. But we have to do service. It has to be some practical service supporting this Krishna consciousness movement. Prabhupada said, work now, samadhi later. So we can be in samadhi just hearing and chanting, but that's not what Prabhupada instructed us to do. Work now. You have work to do. And then, you know, later on, you can be in samadhi. But for now, you work now, samadhi later. He said a lot of things. He said, do the needful. You see something needs to be done, you just do it, you know. So you have to hear and chant, but you also have to do some practical service. Yes?
Sometimes we keep hearing, but we don't do practical service. So that
Say it again from the beginning.
Yeah, so sometimes we keep hearing again and again and again and again. So there was one brahmachari who used to put headphones, Kirtanya Sadahari. He will not talk to anyone, not do any service. Just hear 1,000 times same lecture, 1,000 times same katha. His ear did not go for 10 years. He could not hear anything now. So what I meant to say is the balance part of it and what we are hearing. Suppose I heard today you said something in katha. So we have to practically execute them
Right.
by some service. That's a kind of a theoretical understanding and then doing the practical.
Right.
Getting a balance between. When we do practically, we face some challenges, come and again cross-check. Like did I hear correctly? Because unless we go and experience it practically, like we heard, we have to be humble and we have to chant. So now you are chanting and you are trying to be humble and you do the moped. And senior authority said you are not doing right. This is not the way you have to do. This is the way you have to do. Your ego is clashed. You are serving for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years in a temple. And someone said that all these years, these are the mistakes you are doing. So it's very difficult for that person to continue. Because ego, he will feel. So practical has to be supported with the theory, and theory has to be supported by practice.
Well, Pranath Govinda, you come up any way you want.
I stopped that because I heard you have to be, but so many times. So I thought, let's Kirtanya Sadahari, let's do Kirtan. And I'm shouting so much, my throat and ear will go, neighbors will also get. When I shout more, their eardrums can get damaged.
Yes, you're going to go on Harinam. Not right now, it's a little cold, but and there's nobody out. Yeah.
One question I had, but I know it's late. Demigods sometimes they cannot understand. But what about demigods, citizen or children or people staying in upper planets? They can be perfect devotees, and do we have in scripture somewhere those like Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj, all of them are there? Do we have any such kid or any such pure devotee in demigod's kingdom? We always see.
Oh, I'm sure there are pure devotees throughout the universe.
So there is chance
Yeah.
that
Yeah, but it's...
Hanumanji is the son of Kesari and Anjani, right? So he was the king of Sumeru. So, and Bali Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj were the demoniac family.
not in this one.
You're talking about planet Earth?
Yeah. I just wanted something above Earth,
Well, there's Dhruva Loka, and Dhruva's there.
but he went from here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That means devotees are everywhere. I got that.
Devotees are definitely everywhere. Yeah. And then when they're not, then Krishna comes himself or sends somebody. I'm not sure about in hellish places. I don't know if he sends anybody down there. Because the devotee doesn't mind going to hell. It says even goes to hell as long as he's with Krishna. Rather be in hell with Krishna than be in heaven without. But I don't think because in hell there's so much suffering, you can't really think about God. You're just thinking about how you're such pain. When you're in total pain all the time and suffering, it's hard to... Like people are starving. You feed them first. They're not going to want to hear about sitting in a lecture, if they're starving. But if you feed them, then they could listen. So certain things...
So what happens
So I don't
to
know
the
about in
people,
other
people
what
from
planets,
hell?
what they do. What?
So what happens to the people from hell? Do they only get relief when the whole universe is annihilated?
No, they don't stay in hell eternally. They just stay in hell
But
for
if
a
they have no
lifetime.
opportunity, they're suffering so much, they don't have an opportunity to.
Well, you go to hell because you did something and you get some reaction, and then after that life, then you could go. You can come to the middle planet. It's not like you stay in hell eternally. You have a life in hell, and it doesn't mean after you die there, you got to go back to hell again.
So when you finish off your karma, you come back up again, you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm thinking.
Mm.
We go all over the universe, it says.
Yeah, up and down, like what do they call that? That
merry-go-round?
Not a merry-go-round, but it's called something
Ferris
else.
wheel.
Ferris wheel, yeah, thank
Ferris
you.
wheel. Well, the
Yeah, like
merry-go-rounds
you go
go
to
up
the
and
heavenly
down.
planets when the good merits are done.
The
You come back
horse
from the
goes up
heaven.
and down in the merry-go-rounds. You get on. Some horses don't move, but most of them go up and down. Yeah, I don't know what merry-go-rounds you guys go on.
Merry-go-round goes just round and round and round, whereas the Ferris
But the
wheel goes
horses
up
on
and
them go
down.
up and down.
Oh yeah, not all of them.
Not
But
all of them,
just
no.
just very little up and down. The Ferris
Very
wheel goes
little up
all
and
the
down.
way up and
Ferris
then
will go
all the way
up, yeah, all the way down, exactly.
David.
No.
What did he say? We didn't hear that.
What?
What did he say?
That's why.
A tough team to beat.
Oh, right. Well, I'm not going to argue with them. I know I'm right. Yes. But, okay,
we didn't
so the
hear what they
merry-go-round
said.
goes around, and some of the horses go up and down. Any other questions? You want to know about the roller coaster? Okay, I think it's late. So let's offer our obeisances to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much.
Mr. Proti Vaishnava ki jai.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. His Grace Pyari Mohan Prabhu ki jai.
Who was talking?
Hare Krishna.